We're not yet a week into free agency, but there's been plenty of player movement, and tons of guaranteed money being thrown around and pocketed. Unlike last year when they snagged Stephon Gilmore right out of the gate, the Patriots haven't grabbed any of the headliners. But they've slowly chipped away, adding defensive tackle Danny Shelton and cornerback Jason McCourty, both via trade, defensive end Adrian Claiborne, running back Jeremy Hill and offensive tackle Max Tobin. That being said, which teams in the AFC have helped themselves the most? Who's inching closer to dethroning the defending AFC champions? Some might jerk. The Pats gave everyone a boost by losing such key players as Nate Solder Giants, Danny Amendola Dolphins, Malcolm Butler Titans and Dion Lewis Titans. For the sake of argument, let's take a look at 5 leading AFC contenders, what they've done entering the weekend, and what they've lost, and what they still might need to overtake the Shams. Jacksonville Jaguars. What they've done. After locking up Blake Bortles on a 3-year, $54 million contract extension, they've attempted to help him by re-signing his favorite target Marquise Lee. They also dropped a boatload on guard Andrew Norwell, $30 million guaranteed. Help bolster the front for their running game. Receiver Dante Moncrief and tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins were also added. What they've lost. Top wideout Allen Robinson signed a 3-year, $42 million deal with the Bears. He had torn his left ACL in the first series of the Jags' 2017 regular season opener, but had 202 receptions for 2,848 yards and 22 touchdowns since being selected in the second round in 2014. Linebacker Paul Posluszny also retired. What they still lack. They really don't need too much. But in the final analysis, Bortles is still a shaky proposition at quarterback. Why they've closed the gap. The Jaguars still have a great young defense. It is the offense that needed work. By the looks of it, they've helped Bortles every way possible. Yes, they overpaid for a guard, but he'll make their strong running attack with Leonard Fournette even more formidable up the middle. Norwell is also a terrific pass blocker. And, while losing Robinson, they've picked up some pieces Moncrief, Seferian-Jenkins that should make life a little easier for Bortles. Tennessee Titans. What they've done. They raided the Patriots' cupboard, signing both Butler and Lewis. They were already pretty set at cornerback with Logan Ryan and Adoree Jackson. The addition of Butler really puts them over the top, especially with the predominance of nickel schemes nowadays in the NFL. Lewis and Derrick Henry will provide a terrific 1-2 punch at running back. The Titans also resigned defensive end Daquan Jones, which was a must. What they've lost. They cut running back DeMarco Murray, who was injury-prone, and lost his job as the lead back behind Henry late in the year. They released defensive lineman Carl Kludge, and lost inside linebacker Avery Williamson to the Jets in free agency. What they still lack. Williamson was a big piece in the defense. Their edge rushers are also getting up in age. Their defense has to remain a strength, and continue to improve as quarterback Marcus Mariota finds his way. Why they've closed the gap. New head coach Mike Vrabel, who won 3 Super Bowl rings with the Pats, certainly knows what it takes to win, and how to beat his former team. We'll see if he has what it takes to be the head man. The former Texans defensive coordinator brought in Matt LaFleur as his offensive coordinator. LaFleur turned around Jared Goff and the Los Angeles Rams last year. Vrabel is hoping he'll do the same with Mariota. They've also made some nice additions on both offense and defense to help advance them further than last our division round loss to the Patriots. Pittsburgh Steelers. What they've done. Stuck the franchise tag on Le'Veon Bell. They do everything running back. That's a 1-year, $14.5 million deal. They also resigned Bell's backfield mate Fitzgerald Toussaint. What they've lost. They released a pair of safeties, Mike Mitchell and Robert Golden, along with cornerback William Gay. What they still lack. They need to find a replacement for linebacker Ryan Shazier, who suffered a horrific spinal injury against the Cincinnati Bengals during the 2017 playoffs. Some thought Williamson might be the guy for the job, but he signed with the Jets. Why they've closed the gap. To this point, they really haven't inched in any closer to the Patriots. They haven't done much of anything. By the look of it, they'll do most of their replenishing in the draft. Their offense remains strong, but they'll need to be good enough to be the top seed if they hope to slay their nemesis. And even then, they couldn't beat Jacksonville to earn a date with the Patriots. Houston Texans. What they've done. They snagged the talented Tyrann Mathieu on a 1-year deal, and the top free agent safety will immediately help their defensive backfield. They also added former Jags cornerback Aaron Colvin, former Pats special teamer Johnson Badimosi, and a handful of offensive linemen, T. Central Henderson, G. Senio Kelamet and G. C. Zach Fulton. They also resigned corner Jonathan Joseph. What they'd lost, backup quarterback Tom Savage signed with the Saints. What they still lack, a competent offensive line. We'll see if all of the aforementioned signees up front help give them one, because the 54 sacks allowed last, with only the Colts allowing more, was a horror show. Why they've closed the gap, just simply having Deshaun Watson, who tore his ACL midway through the return, puts them in contention. Ditto JJ Watt and Whitney Merciless. Watson was magical in his rookie year before getting hurt. He put up unbelievable offensive numbers. The Texans were never out of any game. If he plays like he did last year before getting hurt, Bill O'Brien's team will be in the hunt. Kansas City Chiefs. What they've done, they added receiver Sammy Watkins, paying him a bundle 3 years, $48 million, $30 million guaranteed. They also signed wideout D. Anthony Thomas to a 1-year deal. They improved the defense by adding linebacker Anthony Hitchens. What they've lost, they traded quarterback Alex Smith and cornerback Marcus Peters, while releasing defensive end Tampa Halley and corner Ron Parker. In free agency, they lost wide receiver Albert Wilson, center Zach Fulton, and cornerback Terrence Mitchell. What they still lack, they still need help in the trenches. They gave up a ton of yards on the ground last. All told, the unit ranked 28th in total defense, so more improvements need to be made with that unit. Why they've closed the gap, realizing they weren't going to win it all with Smith, they've moved on to Patrick Mahomes, the Texas Tech gunslinger they drafted last year. Coach Andy Reid has also done some house cleaning and changed a bit of the receiving group to perhaps better suit Mahomes. Still, the Chiefs overpaid for Watkins, who is injury-prone and doesn't always show up. This has boom or bust written all over it. Other AFC notables: Denver Broncos. Like every quarterback-starved team in the NFL, the Broncos were in the hunt for Kirk Cousins, but didn't get him. Instead, they settled for Case Keenum, signing him to a 2-year deal with $25 million guaranteed. He is an upgrade over what they have, and did take the Vikings to the NFC Championship game. He just has to prove last year wasn't a fluke. But ultimately, he just might still be a placeholder for someone they draft. Oakland Raiders. The John Gruden era, Part 2 begins. His first order of business is getting Derek Carr back on track. He's hoping wideout Jordy Nelson and running back Doug Martin will help that cause. He also needs a defense that can stop somebody. Safety Marcus Gilchrist and linebacker Tahir Whitehead were added for that purpose. Buffalo Bills. They made the playoffs for the first time in nearly 20 years. But they traded the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, who helped get them there. They did sign A.J. McCarron, who now finally gets his chance. But he's merely a stopgap for the quarterback of the future they'll draft in April. They're still a few years away, but definitely on the upswing.